The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
It's time to BS.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Time to BS with Staniel Smooth, episode 223. Another warm and rather humid week to start here. I'm recording a little early, as some of you may probably not notice, but thankfully I do have off today. Give myself some time to relax from work. I'm coming to you from the lovely beaches of Long Island, New York. It's Time to BS, and I'm Staniel Smooth, and we're part of the Belly Up Sports and Belly Up Media Networks, presented by our friends over at U Stadium. So go download the app and get the best sports news and takes here today. Support our friends over at Belly Up Sports and Belly Up Media on Twitter at Belly Up Sports and at Belly Up Media. Decent show to start off today, discussing the WNBA. What? Nice. Tennis, a sport that I absolutely despise. Some football talk, baseball, and a little nostalgic moment on gaming. I will say so myself. But before we keep going with the show, and really just start off the show with some wrestling and everything now and then, I want to talk about New York City. So this weekend that just passed. It's June 11th. Here's a recording, and yesterday me and my lovely girlfriend went to a delightful museum over in New York City. And I gotta say, New York has fallen apart. Just God sakes. We walked throughout the whole city, and people say like, "Oh, if you make it in New York, you can make it anywhere." That counts as show business. We get it, but people will say, "Oh, New York is the greatest city in the world." Shut up. Just shut up. It's gross. That entire city's gross. I don't understand what the whole gist of this love of New York City is. It smells like piss. It smells like someone shit themselves all over the place. No, I'm kidding. I'm not joking here. We walked around like 31st Street and we were going down Broadway. And there were a few hobos laying on the road. First off, I feel bad for the homeless. I think we should do something about that, but that's beside the point. Some dude was about to whip his shebangle out, just piss all over the place. And everywhere you walk, it smells like shit. Everywhere you walk, it smells like piss. The buildings are compacted. They're falling apart. Thankfully, we took the train in there, but still, it's so gross, and it's gotten worse since COVID. It's gotten a lot worse. Now, I will say this though: the culture in New York City, all five boroughs of Manhattan, all five boroughs of New York City, Manhattan, Queens, Brooklyn, the Bronx, Staten Island. They all have a unique culture with each other, and the streets are loyal to one another. I get that, but it's just it's so bad out there. I can't say anything about it because there's some parts of Long Island out here that are just not so friendly. But we won't have time to unpack all that. But for God's sakes, and the water, ugh. The nicest part of New York City is probably Chelsea. Let's be honest here. And even then, there's still homeless people out there. When people say that, New York City's so nice, I'm like, shut up. Just shut up and go enjoy your $20 coffee at Starbucks, won't you? Don't get me started on the apartments. $3,000 a month for a closet. Unbelievable. No, it's a shame because it really used to be not that bad. But it has gotten worse. Since COVID in the last few years, it's gotten worse, and there are some stuff that I want to talk about, but I won't because, I like my job. And, it's a shame. It's a shame it doesn't feel like you're safe out there. Kind of a stupid thing to say, but it's the truth. It's the truth. Not a lot of good things about New York City. Food there's good. Street food's great, but, that's about it. It's a damn shame because, New York is home. I'm from this state, and that city is where you go to hang out and do stuff and stuff like that, but you can't go there without it smelling like piss. It's a shame. It's a real shame. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Smooth Report. This is the Smooth Report, a weekly update in the world presented by our friends over at Candidips. Use the promo code BELLUP20 for 20% off your next order at candidips.com. After a few days of speculation on the Lakers' job, UConn head coach Dan Hurley is staying with the Huskies for a quest at a third straight national title. Dan Hurley turned out a 6-year, $70 million deal with the Los Angeles Lakers to stay over at UConn. Excuse me. Well, continue the Madden curse, boys. 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey has been chosen to be the cover athlete for Madden 25, and cue the curse. The king of hot dog eating, Joey Chestnut, has been banned from the 2024 Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest for supporting a vegan hot dog brand and has signed a deal with the Impossible Foods brand for $1.2 million. A sad day in America indeed. And finally, giraffes are more likely to be struck by lightning than humans. That was the Smooth Report presented by friends of our Candidips. Tune in next week for episode 224 for another edition of the Smooth Report. Okay, I have a genuine question for everyone here today. As of recording, Tuesday, June 11th, Ricochet has been written off WWE TV and will probably leave the company. Some are expecting he goes to AEW, but that's not what we're talking about here. The question here is, did World Wrestling Entertainment botch him? Should he have been a champion more than he was? Now, keep this in mind. He won the North American title in NXT. He won the United States title. He won the Intercontinental title. I want to be very, very clear. I am not anti-Ricochet. Dude could not speak on the microphone to save his life. I feel like if he had a manager, or if WWE brought back the Cruiserweight division, I think that would have been fucking phenomenal. He would have fit right in. Hell, I'd go even back even further. Do you guys remember the X Division and the glory days of TNA wrestling? He would have thrived there. You know what? I will say this right now. Ricochet, if it is effective that he's leaving the company and is a free agent, just sign with TNA. There you go. There's the X Division right out of the gate. Mustafa Ali's already there. Go to the X Division. Problem solved. He should not go to AEW. Shut up. No. Bad IWC. Bad. Go sit in the corner. and go one-on-one with The Undertaker. Anyway, I digress. Did WWE botch him and should he have been a world champion? No, they did not botch him. They did whatever they could to get this man over and be successful, be a champion, and blah, 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 and it just didn't work. It didn't work. It did not work. It's like, how the fuck would I put this? It's like Braun Strowman's first run. Dude could not get over to save his life. But he won a Universal title. He won an Intercontinental title. Now, Braun Strowman today, we'll see. We'll see. But it's a very interesting debate that we have here. I don't know how to word this other than it just... WWE didn't botch me. He just couldn't... If he could speak on the mic, then he probably gets more over than he did. But I don't know. It sucks because the man's winning outside the ring as well. Shout out to Samantha Irvin. That man got lucky. Good job, man. You did the council proud. But they didn't botch him. I like to cause effing chaos, doo-dah, doo-dah. I'm gonna cause some effing chaos all to do-dah day. Caitlin Clark of the Indiana Fever is making the WNBA as popular as ever. Well, as it's been in years. There's been an overwhelming argument for some godforsaken reason about... This is stupid. This whole thing is stupid because... If you understand the whole gist behind business marketing, or business as a whole, you will understand that you get paid based off the revenue that's generated. This is basically the entire argument of what I'm going to ask. Should women in sports be paid more or around the same as men in sports? The answer is no, because let's be honest here, no one watches the WNBA in the last... Okay, let's compare viewership to the NFL or the NBA to the WNBA. That's it. That's the entire argument. The WNBA, despite being subsidized by the entire NBA, is still losing money. Okay? You can't... You're getting paid $100,000 or $150,000 a year for the average salary WNBA player to play basketball. Okay? That's really fucking good. Compared to, I don't know, the middle class in America. Please be quiet. Okay? One NBA game brings more than the entire WNBA league makes in a season. Think about that for a second here. If no one watches your games, how the hell are you going to generate revenue? It's like the women's soccer. It's like the argument women's soccer. Just for God's sakes, enough. If you're gonna go out and say we should get paid more than the average NFL player, I'm like, two different sports. Two different sports. Now, in the women's soccer argument, I get it because internationally speaking, the United States women's national team is significantly better than the men's national team, historically speaking. That's just fact. But in terms of the WNBA, just stop. I'm going to quote a Dave Chappelle skit here. Or Dave Chappelle bit. Let's call it that. What does it truly mean to be equal? Let's just say LeBron James, changed his gender and went to the WNBA. Now, or let's just rephrase. Let's say LeBron James became a woman. Okay? Now, does he still play in the NBA? Or, because he's a woman, does he have to go to the WNBA where he would score 800 and something points a game? at 40. What the hell does it mean to be equal? What does it mean in this case? I am all for equality. I'm completely... I am what you would call an ally in this, in any regard humanly possible. I like to see every side of every argument and go, okay. Because in the end, it's an opinion. It's not fact. It's an opinion. Your thoughts are not facts. It's an opinion. That's it. But if you know a little smidgen a bit about business, you would know that you get paid based off of the revenue that's generated. Okay? Do you think some dickhead over at like AAA baseball should get paid more than Aaron Judge? See? Who watches your fucking games? No one. No one watches your games. Okay? AEW... stop. Stop there. But the whole reason why this is being brought up is because Caitlin Clark, who, from the University of Iowa, is making the WNBA bigger than it's been in fucking years, got left off the women's Olympic team. There's a reason why this story is being brought up. It's because of that. To be fair, she's really fucking good. Why she was on the women's national team? I don't know. It's not my decision. I don't make these calls. But I just think this whole argument about women should get paid more than the men in terms of this whole thing is fucking stupid. But here's another argument. Let's say you are a female mechanic and you are a better mechanic than the male mechanic. Obviously, you get paid more than the male mechanic because it's based off of talent. It's based off of skill. Based off how much money you make the company. There you go. It's equity. Like, what the fuck? How is this complicated? I don't know. I blame a lot of shit today on just stuff, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut and continue on with this podcast. Well, I have a question for you guys. Over in Mets country. Now, I want to be very clear here. I understand that the Mets are not far out of a wild card spot, but hold on. Hear me out. What would it take for the Mets to trade Pete Alonso and Jeff McNeil at the same time? How many prospects do you think you can get for the both of them at the same time? Alonso's a UFA after the season. McNeil's a UFA after 2028. There's a good chance McNeil gets traded. There's a good chance Starling Marte gets traded. I think for the long run for the club, you might need to trade Pete Alonso. I know Met fans don't want to hear it, but hear me out. If the Seattle Mariners call you, let's just give the Mariners as an example as an American League team. Say Jerry Dipoto, the president of the team, calls Steve Cohen and David Stearns of the New York Mets and goes, "Hey, how much do you want for Pete Alonso and Jeff McNeil? How much do you want for the both of them? We will give you 6 or 8 of our top prospects." Because Alonso's great. Alonso's phenomenal. He hits dingers like a mofo. And Jeff McNeil had won the batting title not that long ago. I say, you trade the both of them. Say the Mariners are there. You trade the both of them to the Mariners. You get a boatload of prospects back. You develop those prospects over the course of the season and probably sometime into next season. And see who's ready to go. See who's not ready to go. And you're supercharging your farm system. Because let's be honest here. Unless if the Mets go on an absolute run, which, as we're recording, they are 2.5 games back of the wild card. This is not a guarantee, but this is all just a, hey, hear me out for a second. If the Mets fall apart before the deadline, I think you should consider a trade. Just hear me out, Met fans, please. I speak, I come in peace by the council. Thank you. We have traveled forward in time and is a day later here on the podcast. It is now Wednesday, June 12th. On a delightful Wednesday, hump day! Wait, what the fuck happened to the sound? There we go. I come here to ask a genuine question. What is the appeal with tennis? Like, I understand that people have an opinion. And here's mine. Everyone's entitled to an opinion on something. So, here we go. Tennis sucks and I don't get the appeal of it. Like, I try to watch tennis. I was at a bagel shop. Like, getting some bagels. Not that long ago. And tennis was on. I think it was a French Open qualifier or some shit. And I was like, I could see the appeal behind it, but I really don't. I don't pay attention to tennis enough to know the I know it's a massive sport globally. I know in terms of popularity, it's like the third or fourth biggest sport in the world. Behind, like, I think it's cricket's in there, soccer's in there, or football. Football's in there. Soccer. Fuck else. Basketball's in there, and I think. I don't know. What's the Mount Rushmore of global sports? Somewhere in there. Tennis is in there. But every time I watch tennis and I put the sound on, I hear them smack the ball and they just start moaning like a porno. It's like, what are you playing, tennis or, Mia Khalifa? Tough crowd. Thought that was a good joke. But maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me and my unappeal of tennis. Everyone's got an opinion on something. My opinion doesn't matter. Who the hell cares? Anyone want to talk about some Call of Duty? Rumor has it that Black Ops 6 will be over 250 gigs worth of data, according to Microsoft. That rumor has been debunked, but it's going to be a fucking massive game. Cold War, which I have, is like 200 plus on Series X. God, gaming today has gotten so much worse in 10 years than it has in a long damn time. I blame the rise of online gaming in the last 15 years. I look back, I started feeling really nostalgic over the last few days or so. So much so that I been starting playing my GameCube again and the PS2. So let me give you an outline of my setup here. On my big TV, I have the Switch, Series X, PS4, PS2, and the GameCube all hooked up to this TV. It's phenomenal. I love it. And the GameCube and PS2 hold up tremendously. I also have the Switch still holds up to this even despite its age. The PS4, same thing, holds up. And the Series X, Microsoft as a whole has fallen apart. What happened, man? I guess you start caring too much about money. That's the thing with gaming. It really has been about a money pit. I can remember coming home from school, like 15 years ago, just getting so excited to play Halo Reach, getting so excited to play Spyro, Enter the Dragonfly. I love that game. Shut up. And just being like, you know what? This is great. Can't get much better than this, right? Well, to be honest, it did, sort of. It did. Like, gaming, graphics-wise, gaming's never been better. Control-wise, gaming has never been better. Action gaming has never been better. But at the same point, it doesn't feel... I don't feel like... At the same point, it doesn't feel satisfying, I guess the word would be. I want to go back to the good old days. You know, where it was just... Not everything was about Call of Duty versus, you know, Fortnite or Halo or whatever the fuck. Like, everything's a shooter. Madden. Like, Apex or whatever the fuck. It's just... You know what? Just... Let me hook up my GameCube. Let me play some Mario Kart or Wario World. That's a great game. Metroid Prime. PS2, the Jack and Dexter trilogy. God of War. You know? The original God of War. It takes me back to a simple time. Where things were easy. Where you really didn't have to worry so much about the next online game. Where 8 megabytes of data is all you needed back then. When the days of the PS2. Or in my case, I had 256 megabytes for the memory card on the GameCube. Thing still holds up. You know? Where the Game Boy Advance was still holding up back in 2005. Despite its limited days. Now you need a terabyte of data just to survive in the gaming world. Back in the days of the Xbox 360, 120 gigs of data was all you needed. Hell, even 4 gigs. That's all you needed back then. It's a shame. It's a shame how far we've fallen in terms of the gaming world. And I get it. There are certain things where we, you know, need this massive amount of data for this massive amount of content. Like Starfield. That's a massive fucking game. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a massive game. 180 gigs of data to be exact. But back when Skyrim was first released on Xbox, it was 45 megabytes. 45. Think about that. Red Dead Redemption, the original Red Dead Redemption for the 360, was like 50. The largest game I had was Halo 4, and that was like 1.5 gigs. Think about this for a second here. Do you like? Now I'm not an advocate of, you know, gaming should go back to the way it was back with the PS2, even though I just said that not that long ago. I've been asked numerous times, like, oh, are you a PlayStation or Xbox guy? I'm like, I really don't care. I just want to sit back, have a drink, enjoy my games, and just chill. That's it. I don't do online gaming that much anymore. I really don't. Even if I did, I really don't find it exciting anymore. I'm like, quote unquote, retired from competitive gaming. To where I used to be so addicted to Halo Reach, it was a problem. So much so, I remember this like it was yesterday. I was feeling a little antsy back at home at like the age of 13 or 14 years old. And I'm like, why am I so shaky? Oh yeah, probably because I haven't played Halo Reach. I remember that. That was not a good time. But it's a great game. It was a fun game at the time. But I don't know, guys. I mean, maybe I'm that old fart that loves old games too much. But what do you think? What do you think? Because am I excited for Black Ops 6? Yeah. Am I going to get it? No, because I'm still going to play my Jack and Dexter, my Ratchet and Clank, Spyro, God of War, you know, Metroid Prime, Legend of Zelda, I'm still going to play those games because, fuck you, I can. Mass Effect trilogy, the Gears of War trilogy, Master Chief Collection for Halo. I'm still going to do this shit. I'm a simple person. I'm a simple man. I want to keep things simple. Apparently things aren't so simple today. God, I miss the good old days. I need a sound that just plays like, memory music or some shit. But that's all they are today. It's just fucking memories. I miss the good old days. I miss it. Well, a couple more topics here before it goes up shop for the day. Oh boy, I have a question for you all. Why does Kathleen Kennedy still have a job? How? Genuinely how? I don't know. Oh my god. So, The Acolyte, which is the most recent Star Wars series that just came out, has been god-awful, according to the ratings. It seems rushed. It seems forced. And overall, people just don't like it. And I don't blame them. I mean, you really don't appreciate something long enough until it's gone. It seems to me that Star Wars is gone. What made Star Wars great has now been killed off. Which is a shame, because I love Star Wars. I absolutely love it. I'll watch the first 6 movies, and I'll even watch Clone Wars if I want to. I'll binge the entire show if I need to. I love it. I'll throw Rogue One in there. That's probably the one exception to the rule of Disney Star Wars. That Rogue One was really good. Other than that, what was it? Andor and the Mandalorian, that was it. I understand that Disney as a whole has been under a lot of fire over the last couple years or so. Partially due to the pandering that this show does. It's pander to the woke mob. It's like, oh, we'll change Star Wars for you. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, we'll do this. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, who cares? Just make something good. You're probably a $1 trillion company, Disney. You're telling me you can't make something good and not woke? You're joking, right? But the woke talk completely aside. Completely aside. Star Wars as a whole has fallen off the face of the map. Probably for the last 7 years. When Lucasfilm was purchased by Disney. I thought they had something going with Force Awakens. I thought, okay, they have something going here. Then Rogue One came and it was like, oh, this is great. And then Last Jedi happened and everything just went downhill fast. Real fast. I will argue that the sequel trilogy did not have to be made. It just didn't. It did not need to be made. It was completely unnecessary. And now you have another Star Wars movie coming out where you have the director that pretty much said, I like to make men uncomfortable. Really? That's what's important to you? And not pleasing the fan base that you have destroyed? You have destroyed this entire fan base for what? Because you want to get your stupid agenda across? And this isn't just a Star Wars, but this is a Disney thing as a whole. Do you remember, the Little Mermaid bomb that happened? They made Peter Pan and Wendy. That sucked. You're remaking something that did not need to be remade. Like, seriously. This isn't hard. Are you that much out of ideas? Really? And this isn't all across Hollywood. You just ran out of ideas. Come on. What's next? Remake Lady and the Tramp? That's a great movie. That's a great movie from the 50s. I feel nostalgic. What happened? Just what happened? You're not making this easy. You know that, right? You're making this incredibly difficult to support you guys. Not like my opinion matters. It really doesn't. But Star Wars, just really? You destroy that? You made that franchise look like shit? It was spoon-fed to you. Spoon-fed. With an airplane. No? Tough crowd today. Really tough crowd. Just for God's sakes. Every time I go on Twitter or Facebook and read the comments, I'm like, oh, this could be good. I can't wait for the popcorn. And it's just a fucking disaster. It's a disaster waiting to happen. Oh my God. What happened? Kathleen Kennedy, go fuck yourself. Speaking of Star Wars, time now for another edition of A Moment with Bro Yoda, where I enter my character known as Bro Yoda and I just talk some smack and, give you some life advice and otherworldly just inspiration or whatever the hell. Your life can change so fast that you won't be able to blink quick enough for it to see it change. Story time. Story time. This goes back to last week where I said, don't ever take shit for granted. So, I've had a lot of, thoughts of nostalgia over the last, just looking back as a whole. Looking back in terms of my memories and going back to my days as a child and playing the GameCube or the Wii and God damn it, having a good time. And within like a blink of an eye, it seems like all of a sudden I'm in my teens. Like, what the hell? There's a couple moments where I really looked back. I said, what the fuck happened? That's the thing. Your life can change so fast. So, even in a split second, it changes. Don't ever take advantage of the fact that, oh, my life's going to change, or take it for granted. Don't ever take it for granted. So, call your mama. Call your dad. Brother, sister, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever the fuck. Tell them you love them. Because you never know when your life's going to end. You never know when it all comes to a crashing halt. So, I offer this advice to you all. For anyone who's struggling with, their mental problems or whatever the hell, I want you to go outside in the morning when the sun rises with your cup of coffee or tea, whatever, or cigar or joint or whatever the fuck you're doing, and do some reflecting. Do some reflecting and look back and just go, wow, my life really did change. And go, what happened? Why did it change so fast? Don't ever take, your life or what you have for granted. Because it could change like that. You got to clap your hands. Bam, all of a sudden you changed. All of a sudden, life's changing. Don't ever take that shit for granted, ladies and gentlemen, because you never know when it could be just taken away from you. That's it. So with that being said, that'll do it for this edition of Time to BS with Staniel Smooth. That'll do it for episode 223. I appreciate for all your support. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe to the show. Follow the show on YouTube and TikTok at Time to BS Podcast, Instagram and Twitter as well at Time to BS Podcast. Don't forget to support the friends over U Stadium at U Stadium on Twitter and Instagram, at Belly Up Sports and at Belly Up Media on Twitter and Instagram. My name is Staniel Smooth. I'm coming to you from the lovely beaches of Long Island, New York, and I will see you all in this life or the next one. Cheers, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night.
Woo!